Hey guys, my name's Jay Wilson. I'm a freelance consultant through my company, Onyx Reporting. Thanks for taking time out of your schedule to join me today. I'm stoked, guys. This is going to be so much fun. We're going to learn how to write MySQL. Those of you who hang out with me in the dojo, you know how much I love me some magic ETL. But sometimes you need SQL. And if you're not very strong at MySQL, I hope this little tutorial is going to teach you some stuff that you'll be able to take with you outside of just like a marketing analysis use case. In this tutorial series, we're going to learn how to implement the Shapley value. But for today, we're really going to focus on how you can use variables in MySQL version 5.6 as a proxy for window functions. That doesn't sound exciting at all. We're going to learn how to implement first touch, last touch. Let's get to it. So I've got a little snippet of the data kind of subset right here for us. I've got the cookies. I've got two cookies of interest. I know what channel these interactions were, and I just want to implement first touch and last touch. What was the first channel this cookie interacted with? What was the last channel this cookie interacted with? Now, some of you are thinking, hey, I can do like a window function. Sorry, I can do a group by and then join the data on. I just have to figure out like the max and minimum channel. No, that's not going to work for us. You need a window function to get the job done. You need the first row in my window and the last row in my window. Some other applications for what you're about to learn are going to be like if you had to do a cumulative sum, or if you want to do percent of total, stuff like that. So let's get to it. Remember I said we're not using window functions. We're actually going to use variables. And that's because Domo is using MySQL version 5.6. It was actually the last implementation of MySQL that doesn't support window functions. I don't make the decisions. I just play the game. So if you're on modern SQL or T-SQL or MySQL 5.8.0, you can do this in a lot simpler way. But in Domo, we're kind of stuck. All right. Let's learn about variables. To create a variable, we're going to start by creating a derived table where I'm going to declare a variable that's been initialized or set up with the value ABC. A derived table is just a table that doesn't exist. So in my case, I said select, and I'm not selecting from a table. I'm declaring a variable called date, which you recognize by the @ symbol. And then I'm assigning it the value ABC by using this colon equals. Okay, so that's my derived table. I'm applying it or cross-applying it to my marketing is conversion table by not using a join clause. I'm just using a comma here, and that comma implies or says do a cross-apply. Create the date column on every row of this table. And I can prove that by just showing at date. ABC. Now, this variable is just like any other field in SQL, insofar as I could, alias it and call it previous date or whatever I want. It obviously does not contain a date yet. So let's go ahead and assign it a value. So I'm going to assign it the value date using, again, colon equals. But for grins, what happens if I display date before I assign it a new value? I'm going to call this variable previous date. I'm going to call this column underscore date. I like this underscore method because later it reminds me, hey, anything with an underscore is something you need to drop or remove from the table. I'm going to run my query and it's going to tell me I have spelling mistakes. Oh, it's not called date, Jay, it's called time. Good job. Okay, let's take a look. Here, I'm assigning the value time to the variable date. But if I evaluate date before I assign time, It's what it was initialized as, which was ABC down here. That's a lot of words. That sounds like word soup. I'm going to comment out my last row here, run my query again. Okay. I'm not assigning a new value to the date variable, so it's always ABC. When I see that colon equals, that means I'm assigning a value to it. Here's where I'm doing the assignment. The assignment says, hey, 3418, that's 3418. 391, that's 391. But because I evaluated at date, because I evaluated the date variable before the assignment, it becomes the value from the preceding row. And that is how I can create a window, how I can pass a value from one row to the next. Jay, when does this get interesting? Well, what if instead of assigning date, I assigned cookie? I'm going to initialize it as an empty string. Okay, nothing exciting here. This is exactly what we expected to have happen. Now, remember, a variable is just like any other value or column in SQL. So I could wrap it in a case statement. So I could say, when the cookie is equal to cookie from the same row, then it is the same. Else, it's a new user. You need your end. All right. So here, because the cookie was ABC, it's not the same value as the cookie, so it's a new user. Here, the cookie is the value as the previous row, and they are not the same. So here, it is a new user. And you're like, Jay, when do we get to first touch? Guys, what's the definition of first touch? First touch is the channel when the cookie was no longer the same value as the previous cookie. So all I have to do here is implement another variable and assign the result of this logic to that first touch. So first touch is when the cookie, let's say, does not equal cookie, then assign the value channel. Otherwise, just keep the value. I think that should work. Booyakasha. Online video, online, and it keeps it all the way through. Paid search, same thing. Paid search is the first touch for this cookie. Super exciting. We used a variable to pass the cookie from row to row, and we're able to use that cookie variable to say, hey, am I still on the same person? If so, keep passing my first touch variable. If not, assign it a new value. Okay? Pretty straightforward stuff. Now, anytime you use these variables, I recommend you do some cleanup. Delete that underscore cookie. So I'm going to alter the table. This is a SQL transform. I'm not selecting. I'm doing an DDL, the data. I don't remember what DDL stands for. Anyway, alter table, learn, window, drop column, underscore cookie. Now, when I go to select Learn Window, you'll notice that the column underscore cookie has been dropped. What's sad though, unfortunately, the UI doesn't recognize it. So it's kind of a lie. Anyway, that's not a problem. Now what we're going to implement is the last touch. How do we implement last touch? We're going to do the same thing as first touch, but we're just going to sort the table in a different order. So order by cookie and then time. Anytime you use these window functions or this like variable passing here in MySQL, it's very important that you implement an explicit order by clause. So last touch. So I'm going to call this L dot star. We need to declare our variables. So I'm going to create my derived table. Select at cookie and at last touch. Call this table R. I need to declare my variables with a value. So I'm going to initialize it with an empty string. I can now do r dot star, and I would see those two variables. Great. Now, what's next? I need to assign cookie. That's always going to be my last step. So at cookie is going to receive the value of cookie, and I'm going to call it underscore cookie. Can't stop laughing at myself. Okay, now let's do some magic. I want to assign the variable last touch the value of case when cookie does not equal the column called cookie. Then assign it the channel. Else assign it last touch. That was super fast. Is that it? Huh. The last touch should be online video. Oh, J. Sort by time descending. The last touch is now Instagram, which is correct, and the last touch is online display. The first touch is paid search. The first touch is online video. We are winning. All we're going to do now is do our little cleanup. Alter table. We're going to create a SQL transform. Alter table last touch. Drop the column underscore cookie. Keep it clean. Great. That would be it. But guys, I want to do one more thing. I want to show you how we can create that customer journey. So what is a customer journey? The customer journey is just a channel appended onto itself when I have the same cookie. All right. So I'm going to start by declaring a variable called at CJ. Cool. And what is my customer journey? My customer journey is case when cookie is equal to then concatenate customer journey and the string channel. If they are not the same, then I need to reset my customer journey channel because it's a new customer. Beautiful. Oh, you can hear my dog barking in the background. Come on, Gracie. Trying to make a video here. Stop it. She doesn't listen. Okay, so that's customer journey. But for the purposes of the Shapley value, which is the whole reason you're watching this video, right? Wrong. I hope you're watching this to learn how to use variables in MySQL. But for my Shapley work, I need to have just the distinct channels. So if online video is already in my customer journey, I don't want to see it twice. Okay, so how can we do that? We just have to extend the logic of my case statement. I'm going to make a customer journey 2, initialize it as an empty string. All right, here we go. I'm going to use customer journey kind of as my baseline here. And I'm going to test if cookie is equal to cookie and if the customer journey does not contain, okay, percent sign, the string channel percent sign, then, okay. So what does that say? If the customer journey does not contain the channel, and how do I test if it contains channel? Remember, I would have to do something like, normally I would have to say, not like Instagram. That's what I would have to do. And to construct that, I'm using the concat and then just tacking on the percentage sign. Okay. I'm also going to do a test. If the cookie is equal to cookie, but this is not true, then I'm just going to keep CJ2. Oops, CJ2, not CJ2. I don't want to overwrite this customer journey. Bad things will happen. All right, let's take a look. Did I do it right? Duplicate column name. Online video. It was already in the string, so it didn't add it. Online video Facebook, Instagram. Oh, beautiful. There we go, guys. This is the foundation for getting through building our marketing attribution data set. But really, again, what I wanted you to learn is how to initialize variables in a derived table, and then how to update them using this colon equals. And then using a blend of logic and your variables from the previous row to kind of say, how can I recreate a window function in MySQL? To fly us through it, our goal for the end of the rainbow here is to take our initial data set, and we just end up doing the same thing over again. I do a last touch. I ask, will this data convert? And things of that nature, just using these variables. The final data set that you need to get started, you don't really need all of this. What you will need is that customer journey 2 that I just showed you how to implement. You'll want to know first touch, last touch. That's kind of nice to know. And you'll want to have your cookie ID. Those are like the 3 big things that you need to get started, but I have a couple more columns in here that I just have for analytics purposes and other project stuff. Cool. In our next video, we're actually going to get into the Shapley transforms, but thank you so much for joining. My name's Jay Wilson. I'm a freelance consultant through my company, Onyx Reporting. If you'd like to talk to me about getting your hands on this code, go ahead and shoot me an email at jae@onyxreporting.com. We'll see what we can work out. Y'all have a good one.